si te pudieras analizar la sangre en tu casa? ¿Y si no hiciera falta un vial entero, sino solo una gota? Voy a dejar Stanford. Esta máquina va a cambiar el mundo.
Oh, for sure. Boy, you know, fake it till you make it is a real thing. People have lived off of it. We are complicit in that. It's just, I think it's that it's not just about finding out why and how somebody succeeded for so long with nothing, but it's also about our responsibility in it and how we did that too. We helped build her up. We helped build these people up because we wanted to believe. So I think we're all kind of just have to look around at each other and take stock in our complicity. And I think it's I think it's an amazing amazing lesson that we're continually being taught. How many times do we have to be taught, you know, in order to stop letting it happen? But it's just, you know, some people are just smarter than others, and some people are more passionate than others, and sometimes we want to believe something that that doesn't end up being true, and that's okay. But you know, we got to be, I don't know what it is. It's just go, you know, blindly into the night, you know, hoping, you know, it's just, it's complicated. I think it's just because it's, you know, the people that are able to succeed at, you know, whatever they're succeeding at. I think it's just amazing to watch. It's like an underdog story. You want to believe in something, and you want to see someone succeed, especially if it's a woman like Elizabeth Holmes, very charismatic, very passionate, very smart, eager, and knows how to speak to people. And it's just, you want to believe in the best in people. You want to see the good, because it's a hopeful story. It's positive. It makes you feel good. It makes you feel like you're safe. And then it's also strangely, I'm not a psychologist, but strangely satisfying to see somebody who deserves deserves the consequences of the fall. And I think it's because maybe part of it for me is that I feel like taken advantage of, and I'm like, well, then now I want to see the consequences. I want to see you be held accountable. So there's a satisfaction in that. And I mean, that's from my point of view, that's how I see these things. You know, I just recently watched the We Crashed documentary, and I was like, wow, this guy's great ideas, very charismatic. I understand that he fell from grace, but there's something about him that we wanted to listen to. And so I'm like watching him come up with the ideas, and I'm, you know, and watching the passion unfold and the positive effects that it has on people around him. And then I see where it goes wrong, and I see what's really happening. And then you're like, wait, that guy needs to be taken, you know, held accounted for. He needs to take responsibility for what he did. And then the fall becomes as satisfying as the rise, even more so. So I don't know. That's what happens with me. Well, all the footage I have is of her in her prime, and then in her fall, in her deposition tapes. I had about 9-10 hours all told, and I watched it over and over again. And you know, when you watch something so often, you get mannerisms, like you absorb it, whether you're an actor or not. If you spend that much time with somebody, you absorb it. And so that's what I was doing as like the actor. And she has very specific mannerisms that are natural to her, and then she has very specific mannerisms that are not natural to her and that are very deliberate. And so you separate them, and you commit more to the things that are natural to her, and then you have to be you have to kind of carve out space for the unnatural ones, you know what I mean? So in order to play her younger I reverted back to like my like 13-year-old self when what I remember of it, muscle memory. And I had bad posture, and I like didn't feel like anybody wanted to like listen to me. And in order to show an arc, you kind of got to show Elizabeth when she wasn't so confident, because we're not always confident, even the most confident of us, before she became a leader. And it was, you know, just a lot of like remembering my own stuff and understanding where she came from, and the kind of world she came from, and her her home life, and molding mine and hers together. It's just like kind of what you do naturally as an actor. It was harder to reflect her fall, even though I had seen the toll it took on her spirit in the footage. Even though I don't know if, who knows if she was even cognizant of that. I saw it. I think it was hard because I started to care deeply about this person. And you know, reenacting the choices and creating imagined realities of why she made the choices and of her making the choices like in the moment was hard, because it all really happened. We don't know what was happening in her head. We think we have an idea, and we for the story's sake dramatize that, but it was hard. It was remembering that it was all something that really went down, and people's health was kind of in the balance. And I think that was just hard on my psyche. And it was hard because I cared about her and I didn't want it to be true. It's like when you watch Titanic and just think that there was a piece of you every time you watch Titanic that really hopes it doesn't sink, even though it's definitely going to sink. It sank. There's nothing you can do to change it. There's still something in the human spirit that like a little carved out part of your heart that hopes that it can change. And I think that's what was happening for me. I am absolutely capable of being very ambitious, but not to a fault. I do believe her ambition took her way over the edge. That's like a different word. There's like another word for it. Ambition doesn't quite nail it. I think in terms of being optimistic, I see the good in people. I desperately look for the good in people. And I don't think it's just because I'm an actor. I think it's just who I am. And it's definitely like become kind of like not always served me, but it serves me as an actor every time, but it hasn't served me in life so much because I've gotten by people and taken advantage of. So I don't know. I'm less optimistic than I used to be, but definitely optimistic about the things that I think really matter. Like life in general, try to be optimistic. And I do see how, I don't know if it's optimism for her as much as it is survival. I think she felt that she needed to believe for survival. I think it's a whole other thing, but yeah, I can relate to her in a lot of ways. I could, I mean, off the top of my head, because I haven't gotten this good question. In the show, I played it. I started playing that with the Walgreens guys because that was a real, I mean, Jesus, it ended up, I played it in that instance, but you know, it's funny. I keep thinking, is it the story or her? And it's hard for me to answer because I think I have ideas about when it happened with her, but the only thing I have to go on is what we did. And I really have to, I think it's knowing that we were never going to get that box for Walgreens in time for them, and still just deciding that we were going to do that. And then after the death of Ian, the engineer, I think the denial of her grief was like the jumping off the edge. So there were like, it was like two-parter kind of. It was the box, the actual invention, and then it was like the whole story. Gah!
Este es tu sueño, tu historia. La gente confiará en la tecnología porque confiará en ti.